Hi, thank you so much for tuning in. In this episode, I'm going to be answering a few of the questions we've received from viewers and even members of our production team. So stay tuned. I think you'll find it interesting. You're watching On Land in Kenya. I'm Solomon Wangwe. So if you bought land as a member of a group, whether it's a limited liability partnership or a limited company, chamas and investments groups typically fall under one of these two. It could even be a self-help group. How do you verify your ownership? Well, you could very easily find out the ownership by doing a search. If it's a company or a limited liability partnership, you can get what is the equivalent of a CR12 for the LLP and the limited company. It basically lists all the directors and shareholders of the company. Presumably you are one of those if you're part of the group, and that verifies your joint ownership in the property. And of course, this means that the property was bought in the group's name, not your names personally. If the names on the title deed are your personal names, that's fairly straightforward. We've sold land to people before who bought the parcels of land as a group, and they had all their names listed on the title deed. And you can do even a stipulation of the percentage of ownership. Case in point, one group, there were 4 individuals bought an acre together. We listed all their names on the title, and because they were equal owners, after their names you put down their percentage. So it's 25%, 25%, 25 and 25 for each one, and that makes up 100% ownership of the 1 acre. That's fairly straightforward. But if you're part of a registered entity and you bought the land in that entity's name, a simple search should reveal the ownership, including yours for the property. Yes and no. So if you bought the land in an entity, so as a limited company or a limited liability partnership, for example, you cannot use the land as collateral for a personal loan for yourself because the land belongs to an entity. And in legal speak, a limited company and a limited liability partnership are treated as human beings by themselves. They are considered to be an autonomous entity separate from its directors or shareholders. So in that respect, if I am one of 4 people, one of 4 directors or one of 4 partners in this company or entity that owns an acre, and I want to take a loan from my bank and they ask me for security or collateral, I can't use the title to that property as collateral unless, of course, all the other members have given consent and the bank is willing to take it from me as a director and a significant shareholder in the business. It's a very tricky thing to do. In most cases, you wouldn't be able to, because the property technically belongs to someone else, and that someone else is a limited company or a partnership. Now, if the land was bought jointly with all our names on it, that's also a little bit more straightforward, but you need written consents from all the other co-owners, and there may be implications, legal and tax implications to them as well if you're the only beneficiary for the security. So if you bought land from Goshen, ideally you should be able to sell it at some point, and that is true whether you're buying from Goshen or whoever else. That's the reason you buy. After all, you need the ability to liquidate that asset when you need to, and that is definitely something you can do with land that you've bought from Goshen. It's one of the reasons we make those opportunities available, because we specialize in offering opportunities in parts of the country that are going to explode in value in a medium to short term, meaning 3 to 5 year period, at the most maybe 7, because of our proximity to impending developments and some of the interventions that we make on the land. And time, of course, has an incremental value to property prices. So you should be able to sell, and the answer is yes. some people ask if we would sell for them. We only sell what we wholly own, but we're always happy to assist in advice and maybe sharing of particular networks that would help you to do so. Yes, we only sell what we own as a company, which presumes at some point we need to buy land so that we have it to sell at the appropriate time. And we're always looking for new opportunities. So if you own land or you know of land that meets our criteria, which we're happy to share with you, if you get in touch with us directly, we're always keen to acquire new parcels of land. There are a number of avenues. Obviously, you always want to avoid land disputes at any cost because those can get messy, and the scenarios vary. So if it's family land where different members of a same family, especially if it's an extended family where people are laying claim to ancestral land, that can be very tricky. If it's matrimonial property, that's a completely separate issue as well. If it's simply a dispute between neighboring landowners because of unclear boundaries and so on, that's a little bit more straightforward. Typically, you would have to engage the Ministry of Lands in your particular area, the registrar, usually the senior or chief registrar in your particular locality would have to get involved, along with a government surveyor or a private one if you're willing to incur the cost. And that should be pretty straightforward to clear up. The others can get very messy, and the solution would depend on the unique situation. The services of a licensed attorney would be helpful because in many cases you'd have to go through the court system to have some kind of resolution. I hope our answers to those questions helped in some way. If you have any questions you'd like to share with us or comments you'd like to make about any number of those issues or new ones, please feel free to reach out to us through our Facebook page. Check out our YouTube channel and subscribe, please. You can even give us a call directly at 07 0001 0001. Again, that's 07 0001 0001, and we'd be happy to engage with you. You're watching Own Land in Kenya. I am Solomon Wangwe. Stay tuned for more information on strategic land investment.